What? The Sims 1 and 2 are playable again? Cancel all my appointments, Brenda. I'm playing The Sims. Typically, the challenges I do are homeless challenges. Ones where a Sim has to survive, but homeless. I have a whole load of these on here. Go check them out. Why do I do these challenges? I guess 'cause they're easy. But I'd written off The Sims 2 as impossible to do a homeless challenge in. Was it the loading screens? Was it the weird time pausing thing? Was it the constant mood decay? I don't know, but I'd written it off, and I'd never tried. So that's what we're doing today. Let's give it a go. Meet our protagonist, Crunch No Home, our local Sims 2 homeless man. Living here, just off the freeway. If we can't live properly homeless, we can still have the vibe. He hates the employed, and loves those who are stinky like himself. He spawns in with just a tent and a pond, but we don't spend long here, as it's off to the local library to gain knowledge and meet other Sims. With only one simoleon to your name, one can only peruse the vending machine, the fun snackies, so our only option here was to freestyle for tips. But these Sims did not appreciate the arts. So it was off to the coffee shop, where Sims did appreciate our slam poetry. But slam poetry does not pay anything. And Sims blocked Crunch out, preventing him from clocking in a quick shift as a barista. There was only one option left to gain money and food, as time was running out and our only mood that counted. It was off to the park to eat hot dogs and wash our hands. It was clear this was not working. I was playing this too much like The Sims 3. Things couldn't be sold from the inventory like in The Sims 3. It had almost been a full day, and we'd gained 0 simoleons. And once we returned, the day was reset, like Groundhog Day, or Endless 8. I needed a fresh start. Unfortunately for me, the game crashed. And when I returned, Crunch was missing. Meet Crunch No Home again. He's identical in every way but one. This Crunch No Home has a telephone and a hole. And using this telephone, he will be able to create a home business. And now, another hole. Why wasn't I digging holes like others were? Digging holes makes the game too easy. Digging a hole is hard work. Fishing is sustainable and easy. We would survive on fishing in our pond and selling the fish from our alleyway to whomever stumbled upon it after getting off of the bus. Many Sims sought out to fish their own fish in our pond, rather than purchase from Crunch. One day we would charge these loiterers, but for now they were left to cheat the system. With the little money we'd gained from selling the fish, Crunch purchased a sink for washing his hands, so his fellow Sims did not have to suffer with his stink. The marshmallows toasted on the campfire were just enough to stave off hunger. And it was fun! But thanks to the phone, Crunch could order Chinese food to obtain a proper meal. But many of the loiterers in the alley thought this was a communal meal and helped themselves. I tried to charge them for this, but Chinese is not to be sold separately. Sims were beginning to get upset by the lack of things for sale in the alley, as Crunch was rarely in a good enough mood to fish to gain money. But no one is forcing these Sims to hang out in the alleyway. It was often days before Crunch was once again able to be in a good enough mood to fish again, with Sims hanging around and fishing in the pond, all the while our star rating dropping each and every day because of our lack of items for sale and the terrible surroundings. On the few days Crunch was in a good enough mood to sell and fish, we purchased a grill in hopes we would feed ourselves without relying on a takeaway every night. Like myself. And a chair for sitting down. But this still wasn't enough. I was avoiding leaving the home lot, in fear of losing Crunch again. But it was a risk we would have to take. Leave or starve. So, like a bird migrating to warmer climates, we left. The gym is usually a good shout in a Sims free homeless challenge. It has all the basic amenities one would need. So let's see how its Sims 2 counterpart would add up. There were showers, so once again we could become clean. There were grills, so we could cook hot dogs without the need of a fridge or a counter. Something I'd never figured out back on our home lot. And chairs for lounging and sitting down, so we could rest and be comfortable. The Sims 2 has something The Sims 3 does not have. Crunch had been fishing for enough time for a visitor to invite him to the Secret Nature Club. I'd never visited one of these secret clubs, so Crunch decided to check it out. This place proved fruitful. Benches, showers, grills, and most importantly, fishing. Look at all these Sims living their best life in harmony. Not a phone in sight. We hung out here for many days, working on our needs, fishing, and getting to know the Sims that were hanging around this lot, including their leader, Nene Philippine. Eventually, it was time to go home, back to reality. But by the time I got home, Crunch's moods were terrible again, so I would just simply head on back to the Secret Nature Hangout and repeat the whole process again. Sleeping, eating, socializing, showers, just all that good stuff. Fortunately, Crunch could still fish and sell these fish when he returned to the alleyway, so these trips weren't all for naught. Sims were still trying to buy the few fish we had, but progress was slow, and winter was coming, which posed a new threat: freezing, for both Crunch and the pond. To prevent our stars dropping completely into the negatives, like the temperature, Crunch finally purchased an open-close sign to keep those pesky Sims off the lot whilst we got our life together. At least the pond at the Secret Nature Hangout had not frozen over yet. One of Crunch's wants that I had locked in was to marry a rich Sim. An easy way in The Sims 2 and in real life to bump oneself up into another tax bracket. And Nene Philippine, the leader of the Secret Nature Hangout, was the most attractive Sim Crunch had met so far. Other Sims had found Crunch very attractive. It was rather strange as he is stinky and homeless. But he is a business owner, I guess. So I decided to take what I thought was a calculated risk, and invited Nene to move in with Crunch. It did not pay off. She was as broke as we were. At least she provided company, and could catch and sell fish with Crunch. Whoa, she came with a lot of fish to sell. Together, they bought a fridge, and attempted on that grill again. Still no luck, I have no idea what we're doing wrong. And later, a cubicle toilet and a shower. Things were really starting to look up here. I finally figured out gardening, and we could now afford the machine that charges Sims to hang out on the lot. I soon got rid of this though, as Sims were only spending money, the 6 simoleons, to just hang out on the lot, rather than buying fish, which was much more profitable. Get out of here! It wasn't long before the pair were not only engaged, but were now married, making her now Nene No Home. Things were definitely starting to look up for Crunch No Home. This was becoming rather successful. With the pond melted in the spring, Crunch could now return to fishing at his home pond, and they were able to afford food and soggy sandwiches. I bought shelves, but that's not quite the vibe. Rugs were much better. They had almost a marketplace bazaar sort of feel, especially once the tomatoes were fully grown and could be sold on these rugs. I originally wasn't going to make this challenge a year, but we'd come so far. And before I knew it, Nene was pregnant, with a baby. So I sought to see it through. With a little unexpected luck, Crunch helped a customer who offered him a job as a relic liberator. Usually I wouldn't give a sim a job in a homeless challenge, but this felt in theme, so I couldn't say no. And soon after, Nene and Crunch welcomed their son. I was hoping for a girl so I could name her after someone who may or may not have been here. Arcadia. But we named him Crunchy. But Crunch had done it. He had pulled himself up by his bootstraps and managed to get himself out of homelessness with a professional job and now a wife and a child. Maybe we'll see Crunch and the family again in The Sims 2, but a more casual style gameplay, if that's something y'all are interested in. But as my first Sims 2 video, it didn't feel right not to do a homeless challenge. I believe there's been a few patches since this recording, so perhaps I could come back and try living off the lot again, without the risk of possibly losing our Sims again. If you enjoyed this homeless challenge, why not check out some of my others? Majority are all Sims free, but they're all good. Now with The Sims 1 and 2 easily accessible, challenges can be done in those games. Let me know what you want to see more of, and tell me all about them and more in the compliments and suggestions section down below. And of course, if you are new, subscribe so I can be friends with all of you. But for now, let's look for Wally together. Goodbye!